This is Elias Dufexes. You're watching That Tom Clancy Show.
Thank you, Elias, and welcome everybody to a brand new episode of That Tom Clancy Show. I am, of course, your host, the hopefully inimitable Mr. That Tom Clancy. So thank you all for joining us on this Tuesday morning. To everybody who was looking forward to last night's show, I'm sorry some stuff came up. I had to take care of it, but it's okay because we've rescheduled. That show will be tomorrow at the same time. But we'll talk about that later because that's not horribly important at the moment. What's horribly important at the moment is saying thank you all for being here. But even more important than that is today's guest. So my guest today is the developer of Crimson, a trippy little trip through hell. Trust me, it's more fun than it sounds. And I know it sounds kind of crazy. So, Bits and Pixels, please join me in welcoming Amir. Hey, Amir, how's it going?
Hello there.
Welcome.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Welcome to the show.
All right.
So,
I'm glad to be here.
well, thank you for joining us. I know it's the time zone thing is a little weird with all the difference and stuff. And on top of that, like you're in a like half time zone, which is like doubly weird.
What is a halftime zone?
Well, it's like usually, every time zone is like a full hour difference, but there is instead of I forget exactly what the time difference is between the two of us. I think it's 7.5 hours. So instead of like either being 7 hours or 8 hours, it's and a half hours.
Oh yeah.
Which is kind of weird, but hey, time zones in and of themselves are already crazy. So, well, again, thank you all for coming. For everybody who's just joining us, this is Amir. He made Crimson. It was part of Pitch Your Game, what feels like an eternity ago with last month, but was in fact only like 2 weeks ago. And yeah, if at any point any of you guys have any questions or anything, feel free to throw them in chat. Don't worry, I have this fancy little laptop here. I might not be able to type messages back to you, but I can read them. Now, before we start talking about the game proper, this is a question I've started to incorporate in that I probably should have from the start of the show. But what games are you playing right now?
Right now I am playing Contra Hardcores. Yeah, I'm going back to classics. I'm sick of the new age.
Hey, there are a lot of very good games in this current era.
Yeah, I know. I am acting like an old man. I'm not an old man. I am more often than not playing new games, but this one it just came up. I was like, "Hey, remember that game? It was crazy. Let's go play it again." But before that, I was playing Vampire Dishwasher Smile. It was the name, I suppose. Have you heard of that?
No, not at all. That is
Check it
one of
out.
that's one of those
Yeah.
crazy game titles where I'm just like, this is insane enough for me to probably enjoy this. So,
Oh yes, it is one of the most it is very, very fast-paced hack and slash uh side-scrolling game. It's weird. Let's just throw it out there. It's weird start to finish. You know, you
okay.
have a chainsaw as a arm, and you're a crazy person in a mental hospital going on a rampage,
And
killing people. Yeah,
and I was
it's
kind
fun.
of hoping that I was actually a dishwasher too. Uh, that'd just be kind of silly, It's like
Yeah,
all of a sudden it's like to pull off the big combo, you have to grab the plate and then just scrub it really hard, you know.
yeah,
Maybe,
yeah, yeah,
maybe
yeah, yeah.
let's keep talking about that idea. Just the two of us, though. You guys can forget about that. But
Well, oh yeah.
I
How
mean, that
about vampire, not vampire, werewolf chef, not smile, frown.
Yeah,
How about
no,
that
no,
game?
werewolf chef, and you have to avoid getting your fur in the food. I mean,
Wow.
clearly. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, that's just I think of crazy games in my head. Like there was one I was
Mm,
trying to work on that I just couldn't find the fun in, where it was like, you know how in movies you always see like the guy defusing bombs and stuff. Well, like imagine that,
okay.
but you're the size of this rubber duck here on my desk. So you're this little person who's literally climbing through the bombs. I couldn't find the fun in
That
it,
is
but
genius. I'm gonna steal that.
you know what? You get one idea for free. Every other idea you choose to take afterwards,
Okay.
I claim a finder's fee. So, uh, but that's not what we're here to talk about. We are here to talk about Crimson, uh, which has a
All
demo
right.
available on itch.io. You can find the
Yes,
link to that on your Twitter, which is at Crying Psycho 666, if memory serves.
that's right.
I might also be cheating. It might be on my laptop here. Uh, but I'd like to say officially, I just remembered that. Um, so tell us
Okay.
a bit about Crimson.
Uh, well, if I'm gonna just start talking about it, we could be here for weeks.
Well, don't worry. I have other things to do as well. Like at some point, I'm gonna want some like food, so I'll stop us before it
Okay.
becomes weeks. And hi, Liam.
All right. Hello, Liam.
He does try and be here for every show. He
All
does
right,
his
that's
very
cool.
best. He doesn't sleep much, so it generally works out that he's here. But sometimes I
Oh, he said,
broadcast
hey.
during one of his naps. So,
Ah, okay. Oh. Uh,
so Crimson.
yeah, Crimson. What about it?
Well, I mean, it's your game. I mean, I could sit here and I could talk about it, which would be interesting, I'm sure. But
Yeah,
since I have you here, we can get it like get the information straight from you.
yeah. Well, Crimson. Let me just read from the pitch a game tweet,
Okay.
I suppose. That's the that's the most official way of talking about it.
And thank you, Liam,
Oh,
for
wait,
getting
wait.
that link there in chat.
Oh, my last picture game tweet was psst, like a rhythmic platformer set in a glitchy, hellish world that moves to electronic industrial metal music. That's oddly specific, but if you do, check out Crimson.
Yeah, that's I would say
That,
that is
that was
very accurate.
very
Uh,
accurate.
Actually, if you don't mind, I will just throw up a one of the gifts that's on your itch.io page uh, to
Go
kind of give
ahead.
people an idea of what the game looks like. Um, from my personal experience of playing the demo, uh, it is a bit of hell. That's true, but it's not unfair, which I feel is one of the most important things, especially in a game that is intended to be difficult.
Yeah. Yeah, I really, really, really did my best. I tried very hard to make keep it fair. And I when I initially designed the levels, I don't care about anything. So I just make anything that I think is cool. And then I let some of my friends play it. And when that happens, I ask them specifically, do not give me your opinions, please. They're all shit. I don't want to hear any of them. Just play the game and record it, give that to me. I will look at the video and then I will see if they understand what I was going for in that level, in that design, in that particular parts. So, if they understand, if they get it, if they know what they have to do, then that's fine. They just have to execute it. But if they don't, I'll have to just tweak it in ways so they wouldn't feel like, they wouldn't do the wrong thing and say, "Ah, this game is just not fair. Why is this thing not working?" So every time when they know what they have to do and they do it, but they fail, they will feel like it was their mistake, and they will next time try to correct it in their execution. So that's kind of my philosophy of how to keep it fair
Hmm.
and very hard at the same time. Yeah.
Brutal, but I can respect that. And real
Yeah.
quick though, thank you for the follow there, Iron Rajard. If I'm mispronouncing that, I'm sorry. But thank you so much for the follow. Hope you're enjoying the show. I'll be back with more all week. But yeah, there's actually, because before the show, I mentioned to you that I said I thought the game was hard. And I'm going to throw up a GIF, particularly, it's from the boss fight. Or boss fight, I guess,
Okay.
at the end of the demo, or at least I presume it was the end of the demo. If there's more after it,
Yeah, it
I
was.
I hate you. Uh, but yeah, I got within
That makes two of us.
sight of the end of the level, and I just I lost my patience and couldn't do it anymore. But I mean, it's dude, this game is crazy looking and fun and just weird, and I dig it.
Mhm.
Um, Now there is
Yeah.
one thing I will say, because just going back to this other GIF, the introduction to your little fire thing, like that you're supposed to pick up.
Mhm.
I just thought that I had gotten to a part of the level I couldn't get out of, and it wasn't immediately apparent that I was supposed to pick it up. But I mean, that's like the only thing I would say.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it looks like
Yeah.
it's fire, and I appear to be made of meat. Uh, Fire, meat generally
Well,
don't go so well together.
yeah, yeah. I tried to in the beginning when I designed that part, it was open. So I I I saw people like trying to avoid it and then jumping to the right and they falling and dying. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna close this part so they know that, you know, there's no other way. You have to get to this. And I suppose it works. It's just it happens late. I'm open for ideas
Yeah,
on how to improve that part.
yeah. I don't know that I have one, at least not ready to go.
Yeah.
But I understand, like, to keep with what you're going for, especially with the game, it would not make sense to put like a little text box over it that says "Get the fire."
Not at all.
You
Yeah.
know, um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I guess the only thing I could think of maybe would be like an artistic note to uh, because like the goal of each level is to pick up the flame and then carry it to the pentagram. And maybe
Mhm.
like the only thing I could think of is maybe doing like the pentagram to look like embers, so it kind of implies that it's supposed to be on
Mm,
fire. But that's
mhm.
if since I'm on the spot now and I have to come up with an idea, that's the idea.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
That's a
yeah.
finder's fee idea though.
Yeah, it's a start. That's how brainstorms happen.
Yeah. But I mean, otherwise, it's like once I just figured that out, because to set up the scene for everybody, uh, you have this flat ground that you're on with with a flame that's going up and down. And then you have kind of like this
Hmm.
horseshoe over here. And I was trying to figure out how to get up the horseshoe to get to another platform. And I got kind of close a couple times. But then I was just like, wait, what happens if I just touch the fire? And worst case scenario, it kills me and I just start over and I figure out where I screwed up. But then it turned out to be what I was supposed to do. And, but I mean, that's what a lot of classic games did. It was, or encouraged, was this idea of just try stuff and
Yeah.
eventually something's going to be the right thing.
Yeah. I made sure that that would be the case. Especially the deaths. There was, in the initial state of the game, there was a lot of change to the game. In the initial state of the game, you wouldn't want to go for more than 2 minutes. It was way more brutal. In that one, the death time, it was 1 second, so you had to wait a whole 1 second. Now it is half a second, so it's and then it's over. You go back to where you were.
Yeah.
And in the whole demo, maybe there were a couple of checkpoints, but then I saw the video as I figured, okay, these are the places that people would constantly fail and they would rage quit. And I still have the rage quitting issue. I just heard from you, you rage quit in the bus. So, I
I
would like
wouldn't
to
say
know,
rage
I'm
quit.
curious to know.
I just decided
Okay.
that I didn't want to play anymore in a moderately
For
annoyed and
now.
angry fashion. Rage quitting
Yeah.
generally involves like throwing the controller. This was a very
Oh,
no, I'm done. Rage quit is like me playing Dark
yeah, that makes
Souls.
sense. Oh, yeah. And I suppose it's a dilemma I kind of have. I know there is a very special place for hard games. And of course, when you're when you're a Meat Boy in my game, you kind of know that I got a lot of Super Meat Boy influences. And that game was absolutely brutal.
Yeah, never beat that one either.
Yeah. So, you know, that one was just sometimes I would feel like, yeah, get the living hell out of here, dude. I
Hmm.
don't, come on. But, I don't know if that would benefit me or not. I know there are people who like it, but I suppose what my philosophy is for making any game is that, do I like it? And if I would imagine myself as the player, and then I would be like in this position that I'm kind of like annoyed and like I just like get it over with. I want to see the rest of the game. It would be boring, and I don't really want that to happen. I want the game to be engaging. So hard and easy shouldn't really be two options. It's just engaging. The player forgets about the existence of reality and just goes into this artificial world and doesn't come back until it's finished and until there is a resolution. So not having a challenge or having unfair challenge would just kill the engagement. So it's a very, 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 very thin, fine balance,
Yeah.
and it's excruciating to figure it out. But think at the end of the day, with this kind of philosophy that I have, that if I like the game, it would be worth it. At the end of the day, I would be proud of what I made. I'd be like, yeah, that's the intention I was going for. That's what I want. I suppose if my intention was, I just want to make a hard game, I want to make a brutal game, that that would be the direction I would go. But I suppose I'm just going to keep it authentic.
Well, I will say that the my main failing was I have a severe lack of this thing called rhythm. Uh, so when the game would, it was just I was getting off beat towards the end, and then that
Yeah,
sort of just like fed into a feedback loop, and I wasn't able to get myself recentered and get back on it. Like no joke, I was like 3 jumps from the end, and I was just like, why isn't there just one more checkpoint? You know, but
oh, did you get stuck on the, on the like a curved thing that there were skulls in between? There were too many platforms there.
no, it was I just the
Which one was it?
closest I got was like legit like 3 or 4 jumps from the pentagram, and like it was on my
Oh, okay.
screen. I could taste it. You know, it was that close. But then I just
Well,
got off beat, and it just like I couldn't
yeah,
get back on. You know, and man,
yeah,
like so just to give people just a quick reminder, so that skull that is following the relative line of the player is the boss. And the crazy thing about it is it's much meaner than it looks on that screen because that jerk moves much quicker than you think. And it's right on your heels, like through the last, like 10 jumps. And it's just like you have to take that moment to like really just take a breath and just kind of push it out of your mind. Otherwise, it's going to like screw you up like it did me, and you're going to fail. So, so
yeah,
that's like I'd love to say that that's mean design, but at the same time,
yeah.
you made a boss with menace, and that's what you're supposed to do. So,
Okay. Uh, a few things to point out here. Um, I forgot all of them.
yes, I've done my
Go
job.
ahead. Yeah, what was I going to say? Yeah, it's about the menace of the boss fight. I don't know about about the checkpoint. I just very recently added a checkpoint there because I saw again, the philosophy of watching videos. I was watching a Twitch streamer play the game, and I saw the exact same thing happen. That part, it was very, it was just unfair. I can just admit when I see it's unfair. To me, sometimes it's hard to understand when it's unfair because I just know exactly what to do.
Yeah.
So videos really help. And people telling me that like at that part something is unfair, it wouldn't also help because I would like to know exactly what change could fix that. And from my understanding, two things I changed it. I haven't updated it in the itch yet, but I did fix that on my own system. There is a checkpoint on the top of the curve,
Mm-hmm.
like 5 platforms before the pentagram.
Yeah.
And at that part of the game, I programmed the big skull to follow you a lot slower. So you still feel like, oh, it's just following you at the same speed, but then I kind of just I want to lean a little easy on you and give that taste of success. Finally, I'm seeing that, and I got that, and I won on my own. The game didn't help me, and I love when it happens. I love when it happens. There's also another cheat I do. The skull follows you a lot quicker when he's away from you and follows you really slowly. If you see the trails, you'll figure out that, oh, when he's far away, he not to give it any gender, but just for the purpose of
I mean, it's a skull. Who
the
knows?
conversation. Yeah, it's called it. It follows you a lot quicker, but when it's close, just kind of gives you a little minute to escape, and it's always again, the whole engagement thing, always being on the edge. Oh, he's gonna get me, he's gonna get me, he's gonna get me, and then you escape, and it's just very. And then there's a dopamine rush. It's very ecstatic.
Yeah.
I love, really love when games do that. I suppose the very famous example of it, the modern example, would be Doom. Have you heard of what Doom does to do this?
No.
Doom 2016 and Eternal, I suppose they kind of they the health bar kind of lies to you. It tells you that you have a lot. Hang on. The 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 more how can I construct the sentence? The less. Wow.
So I think I'm picking up
I
what
have
you're
to think
saying,
about.
which is that the
Yeah,
health bar,
yeah.
depending on how full it is, doesn't accurately portray the scale of how much health you actually have.
Yeah, it drowns too quickly, but then those last pieces of health you have, they are a lot more valuable than they look
Yeah.
like. So you always feel like, oh, I have low health. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. And then when you don't die, it's just wow, that was
Yeah.
something.
Oh, real quick in chat. Hi Nick for one, and for two, Doom 2016 and Eternal were made in id Tech Engine 5. Boom.
I,
Sorry, I had to do that because he always gets on my case for loving Unreal Engine, and which I do. Uh, but that wasn't an Unreal game. Sorry, I just had to gloat there for a minute. Nick is he's one of the people in the Discord who's been very helpful and all this stuff, and we've been like internet friendies for geez, now what's it been like 3 months or something like that? And so it's just like 2020, the year that goes on forever. Uh, but yeah, I do. He makes games in Blender of all things. So yeah,
wow.
I get on his case. Um, well, what were some of the inspirations for Crimson? Because like very clearly we can see your love of classic games in there, things and also some of the modern, like reimaginations of how reinterpretations of how classics felt. But like, what
Yeah.
were some of the games when you were sitting down? You were all like on your mood board.
Well, a lot of them really. I think the hell aesthetic is really closely inspired by Doom.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I don't see any. I haven't ever seen anything closer to that. But there's still my own twist on it. It's not like really hell. There will be a hell level forward, like literal hell. Lavas and fires.
I
This
mean,
one
it
was
looks
just
pretty literal hell, but
well, it depends on your interpretation of hell. So
fair.
for maybe for us, hell could be 2020. It's not a place, but it's a time frame
It's an
on Earth.
idea.
Yeah, it's an idea. There you go. So, um, about the gameplay, so many things. I suppose every platform game I played kind of just had a little bit of thing in my mind that it's like an amalgamation of all the platform games I've played. And course, Super Meat Boy, Celeste, especially the boss fight. I kind of just I was looking for ideas. I was like, hey, remember that Badeline boss fight from Celeste that follows you? Why not just that? And I was like, ah, yeah, I'm just gonna rip that off. I mean, following you is not exactly ripping off, but the way it does, it kind of just it marks where you've been, and then it follows those path path points, waypoints, and so whether you're going slow or fast or wherever you're going, it just it's in sync with you. And what else? Just Beats and Shapes is a game that I think anybody who loves music, you just have to play it. Don't ask questions, just go play it. That game was very, 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 very influential for me. I suggest anybody who's listening right now, just go Google it, go download it, whatever. It's
You heard the man.
yeah, just do it. It's
I can't Google it, so if
I
somebody would be
cannot
so
I cannot
kind as
even
to send it to me via direct message on Discord
yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
something, that would be
Sure,
excellent.
sure.
This laptop's a lie.
Okay. Um, that game was in that game it was more of the idea of that game and another game called 140. That game I kind of ripped, kind of copied 140. I'm ashamed of telling that, but uh I'm by copying, I mean, like, the gameplay beats of it. You get something, you take it to somewhere else, and the level is kind of in sync with the music. But 140 had a very, very, very different vibe to it. And it was literally just shapes like squares and rectangles and triangles and stuff. So it didn't really have graphics in the traditional sense. I mean, it was graphics, but you know what I mean. It was very minimalistic. So it's
Yeah.
like, what if I get that, but then have my own twist on it, and then get a million other inspirations and just make my own form of that game. So that was kind of the basis. But the other games that I mentioned and Just Beats and Shapes, they Just Beats and Shapes and 140, they kind of uh gave me the idea of, yeah, what if you're playing a rhythmic game, but you're not supposed to play it rhythmically. The world is rhythmic, so you're incentivized to it. Because playing rhythmically, it kind of limits you. It's a bit annoying to my experience. Not to disrespect any of the rhythmic games that do that. It just wasn't my thing. So again, the thing of the philosophy of the going for what I like. That was that was the thing I went for in this. That sentence sucked, but I suppose it got my point through.
No, I got
Yeah.
it precisely. It's you made a game that you want to play. And
Yeah,
it also sounds like you're making a game that you find fun to make.
exactly. A lot of I was music producer first. So, I did a lot of like making music for other games thing, and it just, let me tell you, it wasn't fun for me at all. Like, at all. I don't want to make I don't want to make orchestral upbeat, heroic themes. It's not my thing. I am a very single line kind of person. I have one style and I'm very good at it. And I can make that. So, I had to find a way to make my own game. And
Yeah.
it was a journey of self discovery for me to find what game I can make as a solo dev. Since you know, it's obviously hard to make everything yourself. But I had these techniques gathered in so many years that I just didn't know how to use them properly in a game. So, I would make prototypes of these
Yeah.
crazy visual games, but then they didn't make sense. So I had to make a lot of them. So finally, I landed on this, and this, you know, craziness is a bit controlled and it works within the ideas of the game. And the visuals, the making of the visuals. I'm very much not good at animating things. And even if I can do that, it's just laborious. It's just boring. I tried it and I just was like, just F it. I can't, it's not my thing. So,
I can understand that entirely.
yeah. I
I mean,
suppose
I play a
animators
robot on
themselves
the
could
internet.
understand this. Yeah. And then, I was like, what if the game character is just a circle? You know, what if? So made the game around what I could do and couldn't do to be able to develop it entirely solo.
Nice.
And this is what I came up with.
So, just a real quick personal question here. You made the music too, right?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Can we get like a soundtrack of that? Because I dig it.
I am currently working on it.
Okay, I don't
I
mean like,
am, I'm
like
making.
just give it to me, but like if you wanted to just give it to me, that'd be great. But if, just like the special edition option like you see on Steam and stuff like that where it's like, and here's the soundtrack too,
Yeah.
because that's music I would like to listen to. Um, because I very much enjoy the synthiness of it, and also the as opposed to like a lot of synthwave that you see over like or at least the stuff I find on Spotify. Yours actually has what's the
Mhm.
like a driving force behind it. It's not just like listen to the synth wave. It's really trippy. It's like yours is like I'm using the synth to get a beat across. Now be ready to be smacked in the
Yeah.
face with music. And I, but
Yeah.
I'm
You
not a
know,
music critic.
um, yeah, that's a good point. The driving force. It was it was a one of the goals of the game for me was to just show off my music, and I suppose it worked.
Success. No. Well, I mean, it's
And
you were saying that you were making a
you
game
know,
that you could make, like by
it
by
was
making.
as a music producer, I found it very, very hard to promote Hey, there's a huge lag here.
Oh, no worries. I'm gonna blame
Okay,
the
whatever
Atlantic
you said in
Ocean.
the past few seconds, say it again.
Well, what I was getting at is that
Okay,
it sounds an awful
all
lot
right.
like
So I was
your
saying,
dang lag, but it sounds an awful lot like you are leveraging I mean, very clearly, you're leveraging all of your strengths to make this game that you want to make, but at the same time, you're making a game that very much speaks to what drives you as a creative person. You're making this you're promoting your music while also making a game that stands out to like the kind of stuff you like to see in games. Like you are putting yourself into your art in a very direct way, which I feel video games don't always get across. So,
Yeah,
and
that's
I
a
think
good
that's awesome.
point. Thank you. I wish there was more of this, but I suppose it's just, I don't know, nature of the industry and whatever.
It's hard when you have
Getting
a
money
bunch
is
of
the
people
point of
too.
the business. Yeah,
You
but
know,
last time when you were talking to the Andrew from Only by Midnight, you
hmm
mentioned that you didn't have, you don't have sponsors. You're not getting money from anyone, so you can do pretty much whatever you want, right?
pretty
And you can
much.
get the kind of people on the show that you would like to talk to. And this is pretty much what happens in the indie world, in this realm that we reside in. We're like, I don't know, whatever. I'm just gonna make whatever I want. I'm not getting money from anyone. It's not a I'm not getting commissions. So this comes from passion and goes to, I suppose, passionate people. That sounds very positive, and I don't speak positive. So, yeah, let's make it negative. It's a very selfish thing to do. It's very selfish. I only care about what I want to make see in a game, and I get that across. I don't care what people want. Okay, that
Hey,
feels better.
and I mean, at the same time, like that's the purpose. I mean, that is almost basically the definition of art, or at least the classical definition of art is a work that exists solely for the purpose of existing. You know, it serves no other purpose except to be
Mm.
itself. You know, and you're
Yes,
creating a game that you don't care if you're not making a game to be commercial. You're making the game to make the game. You know, and
very good.
yeah, that's art. So, yeah, thumbs up, kudos,
Yeah, it's thank you.
all that stuff.
Yeah, that's a very good description.
Yeah,
Uh, uh, I don't have anything to add. That was pretty much all.
huzzah.
Okay.
Well, I have like one last real
There's
question
awkward
that.
silence here. Say
Oh,
something.
oh no, it's fine. Don't worry, I'll fill it. But there's one last real
Okay.
question I had, and it's really kind of just like a cultural thing. And my question is, what is the game dev scene like out in Iran? Because it's something that like you're the first Iranian developer I've ever met and likely have ever heard of,
Okay.
and so it's just like it's a blank spot in my knowledge, and I want to fill it in. So what's it like being out? What are some of the difficulties? What's you know, yeah, what is it to be an Iranian video game developer?
Well, it's not much of what are some difficulties. It's more of like, it's all difficulties. Basically, it's just, this is my definition of hell, living here. It is garbage. And I am, you know, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It is garbage over here. There are games being developed by good people, but 99.9% of the games here are just mobile games. PC market doesn't really have. There's no PC market here. People just let me just tell you, people crack games, pirate games here. They cannot buy games here. So they just play games for free. There is no Iranian market. We cannot sell games here. And you know, mobile games, because you're getting it free and then you're seeing the ads, that is one of the possibilities. Iranian people can get money from the games they make. But then there's only one game. I don't know if I'm can I say that they don't really say they're Iranian. I don't know if by saying that I'm doing them anything wrong or not, but the game Children of Morta is from Iran. I
Hmm.
hope They're not pissed off that I said this.
It's okay. They're likely not listening, but
Yeah. And hey, have you seen Children of Morta?
no, but I feel like I've heard the name.
Yeah, it's pretty much the only game that came out of Iran. So there are no like smaller games coming out of Iran, since if they fail, they just fail. They cannot publish it on their own online. These guys, they went to extreme length to, you know, they had a company in Canada. They live in Iran, but they have had a fake company in Canada so they could do the legal work to work with a publisher and publish their games. So, not fun, I would
No,
say.
but that's a
So
wonderful workaround.
someone doesn't, yeah. If someone doesn't have the luxury to do that, they will just fail.
Yeah.
They will quit making games. They will go become a clergyman, I suppose, in Iran. Go promote, what Iran stands for.
Dude, that sucks. Like, yeah, that's about as
And
eloquent as
by
I
the
can be.
way, I am making a game about hell with pentagrams,
Oh yeah,
very
dude.
satanic themes, metal in Iran.
Hail
So
Satan.
if
Uh,
any politician, guy, police thing, seeing my FBI agent, I don't have FBI, but Iranian FBI agent watching this,
I was about to
you
say an
can arrest.
American FBI agent would probably reach out to you and be like, "How can we help you?" Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Uh, th-
no,
well,
that takes courage, man. Like, I can't
yeah,
say
I
that if I were
suppose.
in your situation that I would be brave enough to do the same thing.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I might be stupid, and I might end up in a jail. I don't know, but
Well, here's hoping you don't,
um,
but you know, I mean,
yeah. But
but
I
yeah.
don't think really, I I didn't even think this game would get any famous at all. I thought that it would fail as usual. So I didn't think this through well enough.
No,
You could put
well,
it
I
that
wouldn't
way
say
too.
that you've gotten like famous here. I mean, my show is quite small,
Yeah, I know,
but
I know, I know, I know, I
yeah.
know. But
But
quite small,
either
but
way, it's like,
more
I
than
mean,
5 people. I mean,
yeah. Well, I mean, dude, your game's cool. Like, it deserves people to. It deserves to be known about. It deserves to be heard about. It deserves to have
yeah,
players. I'm not saying that people whose games don't end up on my show aren't cool. It's just, like
yeah,
this
I
is
know.
yours is a game that like that caught my eye. I was just like, dude, this looks silly, or this looks crazy. This is the kind of game I would want to play. And yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
it's that simple. Um, and hey, at least one person in
yeah.
chat agrees. So that's a positive. Um,
Game very cool.
hell yeah, man. Very cool.
Iron Rejart?
Yeah.
Is that a new Marvel hero?
I wouldn't be surprised, but who knows with the next phase of movies coming out. So, but
Yeah.
well, now is one of my favorite parts of the show. A little bit that I like to call the 5 questions. So, the 5 questions is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's a series of, well, 5 questions that I prepared before the show starts that have nothing to do with anything we've talked about prior to this moment. So,
All right. That should be fun.
yeah. Oh, yeah, it should be. Question number 1. It is presently Shark Week here in the U.S. on Discovery Channel, which I don't support, by the way. I support the sharks. So, if you could be any shark, which shark would you be?
What the? What? What?
That was that yeah. You know, we ask the
Which
hard.
shark?
Yeah, if you could be any species of shark, which shark would you be?
Okay, let me just Google species. I didn't even know there are species of shark.
Oh yeah, man, there's hundreds.
Species.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, you've got like the mackerel sharks, which includes the makos, the great white salmon sharks, and poor
let's
beagles. You've got, yeah, dude, they're. I mean, I could sit here and I could probably the species of shark for a solid 5 minutes. I mean, the easy
they all look the
answer,
same to me.
well, they are all very similar, but they all have very distinct differences, which determine what kinds of food and which kinds of environments they live in.
Okay, so there is the great white shark.
That is one of the most
There's
popular.
whale shark, tiger shark,
Mm-hmm.
oceanic white tip shark,
Mm-hmm.
short fin.
Yeah, there's a short fin mako, a long fin mako. There's also going to be the blue shark, the thresher shark, the
Okay.
salmon shark.
So I see the trend here is just adding animal names,
They're
just
generally,
adding animal names before the shark. So
well, the
I
whale
am
shark
I
is called
am
the
pussy
whale
shark.
shark because it's like 50 feet long. It's the size of a whale. So it's pretty descriptive in that manner. And it eats similar to large whales as well.
Hmm.
I'd love to see one of those out in the wild. Like I mean, it's bigger than a city bus, so
Hmm.
that'd be really cool. And they also tend to swim in
All
water
right.
that's kind of warm.
I'm learning new things today.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah.
Wow.
How long could I go on shark names? A long time. Um, but I didn't mean to stump you with
I'm
that
interested in the
question.
great hammerhead because of
Oh,
the
yeah, dude, those things are great. The hammer is called a
well.
cephalofoil. Like, and they're, let's see, what do those guys get up to? They get up to about 15
Okay.
feet in length, if memory serves. And they're also, sadly, they're endangered, which is unfortunate. But I mean, you know, humans suck. Uh,
They do.
yeah. Um,
All right. Wow. I suppose I didn't answer that question.
you
I
didn't,
mean,
but I mean, I was gonna let it. I was gonna let it slide.
th- I would say the great hammerhead,
All
as the
right.
name implies, it's very great, and it's just hammerhead. Seriously, imagine scientists like they're trying to come up with names for animals, sea
Well,
animals, and there's this dude like, hey, his head kind of looks like a hammer.
um,
Why
um,
do we call it hammerhead? That'd be pretty funny.
well, that's not the scientific name. That's just the common name.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
so
okay.
I don't recall what or what its actual name is, or the like full scientific name, but I do remember the great white off the top of my head. So the great white shark, you know, it's called great white because it's big, it's got a white belly, great white.
Hmm.
But its scientific name is Carcharodon carcharicles. So, but nobody's going to go around
Wow.
saying that, you know.
Wow.
It's like
That's my
nobody
new
goes
name.
around and calls wolves Canis lupus. They just call them wolves. So, all right.
Canis lupus. All right.
Yeah. I
From now on, that's what I'm calling them from now on.
I remember a
Just
lot of weird things. Um so question number 2. Do you prefer a keyboard and mouse
okay.
or a controller?
Depends on the game. I prefer both. I prefer when I'm playing the game, usually it's just when there's FPS, I play with mouse and keyboard. Anything else, gamepad. No
Okay.
questions asked.
Nice. I appreciate
But
the
for
qualified answer.
FPS games, it's just it feels clunky a little bit
Yeah,
to me.
I can
Yeah.
understand that. What is your favorite movie?
Jesus Christ.
I'm not trying to hit you with all these hard questions.
It's like when you're a child and then they ask you, "Do you like your mom or dad?" I don't know. I
Both, please.
none.
Yeah.
My favorite movie. My favorite movie. Um, um, it's weird that I don't even have candidates. Wow.
All right. Well, let's
I wish
let's
I could just I wish I could just search my favorite movies.
well then let's simplify the question. Um, he is really cool. And he's working on his game called Crimson. You know
You
what?
know,
I got to do this real fast, but let me change the camera angle here. We'll make this a little bit more fancy and official. But all right,
okay.
so Iron Rajard has asked for me to give a shout out to Crying Psycho. He's working on this cool game called Crimson. We've been talking about it pretty much for the last, was that like hour or so? But yeah, his game's really cool. If you haven't seen it already, you can find it on itch.io. Just search Crimson. It's a really cool game. The demo is out now. I highly recommend it. The visuals are trippy as hell. The music is great. And I'll be honest, it's a little bit on the difficult side, and it kind of made me a little mad at one point, but that's not a reason not to play it. So go check it the hell out and support this cool guy I got on my show. So, all right, there we go. So, favorite movie.
Uh, Stepmom catches me having. Should I continue the name?
That's a long name for a movie, but okay. You can stop if you feel like stopping.
Yeah. I suppose I could continue, but I gotta. By the way, I asked that Tom Clancy to anyone who's watching this if I could swear on this show.
Yep, I said you could.
Uh, oh,
And you have,
did I?
actually. Yes, you did.
Did I?
Yep.
Well,
It's my show. I pay
suppose.
attention.
Yeah, it's become so, you know, it's become a part of my language. I don't even notice it anymore.
It's fine. I don't either. I only notice when I'm
Yeah,
paying attention.
I think I once said F instead of fuck.
You did,
So,
but you did say shit earlier too, and that does technically count as a swear.
okay, I'll give you that. I'm going to name a movie that's going to sound a bit lame,
Okay,
but because it's not very artistic,
that's
but
fine.
nonetheless, it is my favorite movie. Uh, Avengers: Infinity War.
That's fine. That's a
That
cool
movie.
movie. Like I'm
Yeah,
not.
from someone who does this weird thing, you would like expect something, Scorsese and Nolan
Well,
stuff.
I
But
didn't
no, in
ask
the
you
movie
what the
realm,
best movie was. I asked you what your favorite movie
uh,
is. Like I'm not gonna like my one of my personal favorite movies is Jurassic Park, right? I'm not gonna say
oh yeah,
Jurassic Park is the best movie, but it's damn sure my favorite movie.
yeah. I could tell you what my favorite shows are. That's a lot easier.
Okay, well then what are a
Boys,
couple of your favorite shows?
Boys, Punishers. What?
So what are a couple of your favorite shows then?
Okay. Boys. Uh, have you seen that?
Oh yes, I can't wait for the next season.
Me too. And
Soon.
Punisher. How about that?
I wasn't a big fan, but I understand
Okay.
why other people like it. It just wasn't for me.
All right. So, the appeal for me was just pretty much the violence.
Yeah.
It was, yeah, that's it.
I mean,
And
yeah, I get it. It's just, it's like I don't personally like the Punisher as a character. So it's just
uh
I found the show hard to watch because I just don't like the character. Like, but I mean, like I understand other people doing stuff, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying I don't like it, you know.
I kind of have the same feeling towards John Wick. I really like 100% understand why it's very such an amazing thing. It's just for me, some people focus on one thing, some people focus on another. So, in this case, you focus on the character, and I
Mhm.
completely ignored the character and I focused on the violence. And in John Wick's case, I don't know why, it just happens. I I in this case focused on the character and the story. And therefore whenever I think about the movie, I was like, what the fuck was that story, dude? What?
Yeah, I can understand that. It was definitely not the most inspired story. Um
Yeah.
but I mean, at the end of the day, at least for me, it was good enough that I got to enjoy all of like the absolutely ridiculous and amazing action.
Yeah. And then, but people seem to really enjoy the character and the story. And that's the part I kind of don't get. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well,
It was
like,
like, yeah, he's passionate about his puppy. And I'm like,
yeah. Well, I mean, I don't.
yeah, what does that make a good movie?
Well, I don't
Like,
like. I don't know how uh, you guys in Iran feel about dogs, but in like America, like the dog is like a huge part of our cultural heritage, and
oh,
it's
okay,
like
yeah.
people are like stupid attached to dogs. And don't get me wrong,
I suppose,
I love the crap out of
I
dogs, but
yeah.
it's like the family dog is as American as apple pie, as the saying goes.
Hmm.
So that's why people were all like, "Hell yeah, you fight for that dog." Also, like if they had just like
That,
screwed up his Mustang, I'd have been like, "Hell yeah, you fight for that car."
oh, definitely.
Cuz dude, that was a beautiful car.
Next one, you might as well be playing baseball to be more American.
Uh
Cars, and then add in hot girls to be even more American.
they
And
generally do a pretty
then
good job of that one.
army, add army.
That would definitely make it more of a Michael Bay movie for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh
yeah, yeah.
but the
And
the
you could add the song America, fuck
fuck
yeah.
yeah.
That would
Uh
just enhance the experience.
yeah, I think that would push it a little too far over into the comedy territory, but oh,
Yeah.
fun times. But yeah, no, like that's very interesting that we both kind of like take this alternate track on The Punisher and John Wick. So nice.
Nice, indeed.
Question number 4. Uh, what was the last book that you read?
It was called Overcoming Obsession? Of Overcoming OCD, overcoming something related to obsession. Yeah, it was a I usually don't read books, but the books I read are usually about, psychological things,
Yeah,
more of self-help books and stuff. I wasn't born in that era of, the book craze. I have read like a couple of books when I was a child. Like, I mean, like books as in storybooks.
yeah.
But when I grew, it was just, yeah, there are video games. Why would I entertain myself with that? And again, it's like the kind of thing I understand why people would do that, but for me, I wouldn't read a single line in a video game. One of the reasons Crimson doesn't want to have texts in it. Because when I see line, I'm like, "Ugh, get that thing out of my face." Yeah.
I also don't like having like subtitles or something in my game, which is why I really appreciate that there's voice acting now. But I also really
Yeah.
enjoy reading, but they're two separate mediums, you know. They
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. So, but hey, at least I don't. It may have just been a self-help book, but at least you're reading, and that's good. That's how I.
Yeah, I
That's
suppose.
well. I
Yeah, yeah.
mean, yeah. Just speaking over here, the average American reads like I think maybe one book a year, and like for me, I read 15 to 20 books a year. So I'm just like, why ain't you all reading? Reading's great, but
Well, what kind of books do you read?
mostly science fiction.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
I actually just finished one the other day, which I absolutely adored. It's called Numenon, and I forget the name of the author. I've talked with her real quick on Twitter because I read the sample from Amazon, and it just like ripped my heart out and like stepped on it, and then wrapped it up in some paper and gave it back to me. And I was just like, I need to read all of this book. And I
Mm.
tweeted her and I was like, oh my God, I just read the first two chapters of your book and it wrecked me. And she was just like, glad to hear you're enjoying it. So I need to get back to her and be like, yo, your book was excellent. Thank you. I can't wait to read the sequel. But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I've definitely read at least 6 or 7 books this year already. If I sat
Okay,
down
yeah,
and
that's
thought about it, I could probably even name them
well,
all. But
now that you're in quarantine, I suppose you have even more time.
Just I just make time to read. It's like it's one of those activities that really helps me kind of unwind and de-stress.
Mm.
So it's like it for me it's it's self-care. So I like to
Mm.
read about people in universes that couldn't possibly exist doing things that I absolutely never will. But at the same time, like, just it's nice to read about somebody else's problems and
Yeah,
not your own for a little bit. Anything to get out of 2020, even for five
let's not
minutes.
face a real crisis pandemic. Let's read about a crisis or a pandemic or any sort of crisis or what is this things happening, riots. Let's just you know see somebody else's problem, and I get that. That's one of the things that again, I like to throw that buzzword engagement.
Hmm.
I really love that part. Sometimes you just don't want to exist in the real world, and that's understandable. You don't want to deal with problems. you know uh Sometimes it's too much.
Yeah.
And reading and just engaging in any sort of story, if it's reading or movies or games, engaging in another problem in a safe environment is one of the most excellent ways to uh you know meditate,
Yeah.
even if it's the most stressful story of all time.
But
It's
it's not
still
your
not real,
stress.
so it's meditating.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, I think too, and one of the things I love about reading is it increases empathy. So by
Mm.
giving the reader an opportunity to get this kind of firsthand account of another person's feelings, it has been shown to give people a better sense of understanding the feelings of just other people in general. And that just makes for better people in society, you know? So, that's one of the reasons, another
Mm,
reason why I like it, of course, also too, like, dude, there's some cool stories out there, So it's just like,
indeed.
it's this way of, just another way of telling stories, and anything that gives us new ways to tell stories, I'm super down for. Not that books are new, books have existed for basically
Yeah.
ever, but, you know, all right. This is the
Mm.
last question. It might prove to be difficult going off of a couple of the last ones.
Oh no. Okay.
So, question
I'm.
number 5.
I cannot say I'm ready, but go ahead.
Well, whether you're ready or not, I'm asking this question. So, uh, what is your favorite non human mammal?
Okay, this one's pretty easy to answer.
All right.
Cats.
Oh, word.
I'm a very, very yeah. I am. You know. I I am the kind of guy who's into the very the Punisher, John Wick, the Crimson Hell and violence, and then also into kitties. It's just kitties.
Uh, you know,
Why
um,
wouldn't anyone be into them?
y- right? I actually,
Right?
they're off camera,
If
but
John Wick,
one of
if,
my cats
if
is right
John
over
Wick had a
there.
cat, oh yeah, I have a cat too. And then you know, I would say if John Wick had a cat, maybe I would have connected to the movie.
Yeah, my wife and I, we have 4 cats.
Oh,
So Frey,
cool.
Zoe, Pumpkin, and Patrick. So
Uh, Say hi to them.
I will actually, after the show's over, I'll
Right.
send you a picture. I just took one of Patrick the other day. Um, oh, and in chat, what is your cat's name?
He's called Sunny.
Word.
What?
I said word. Like, thumbs up. Sorry. Yeah. No, that's a good name
Oh,
for a
oh,
cat.
oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. Good name
Yeah,
for a cat.
he looks sunny, so yeah,
Nice.
he's blonde and white, so
Oh, so
he
an
looks
orange tabby is, I believe, like, because he's got like the blonde and the white and like kind of a stripy pattern. Yeah,
kind of yeah.
yeah. Orange tabby is
Orange
the
tabby.
air quotes official name for that kind of cat.
Okay.
Yeah,
So every official name for animals. That's a very interesting thing to
not
have.
every. There's a whole bunch of names of stuff, and it's honestly, I know that one because of my wife. She's like, I like cats. She likes
Okay.
cats. So she knows like a bunch of this stuff, and like she could go on and on about it, and like calicos and oriental short hairs and dilutes this and that. I just like cats because they're cute, and occasionally they're not
Yeah.
monsters. um
Yeah, occasionally.
like Patrick, he's my kid. Like, I love him to death, but every now and then he's an asshole. uh it's that simple, but love him to death.
Yeah,
Well,
well, I don't have much choice since I have only one cat. I gotta live with whatever Sunny is.
um yeah, yeah, that's why we have
Yeah.
choices. We're like, I'm kind of sick of you at the moment, let's get a different one.
Yeah, that's a possibility I have to consider. Having 4 cats. Why stop at 4? Like get 10. At any point of time when they are assholes, just switch.
Well, like, 4 is kind of the threshold of where you can like manage all of them. But yeah. Yeah, no, cats are great. We also
And
have,
you have a wife who manages that and she loves cats. So
well, it's kind of a
I
team
suppose
effort.
that's a huge help.
Yeah, it's a team effort.
Yeah. Okay.
Generally, because she's the one of us who's like actually doing like real work. She, like I am the one who's pretty much doing most of the cat taking care of, which totally fine with because they're cats and they're great. Um, but yeah, well, Amir, we have been talking now for just about an hour and 20 minutes. Uh, I'm gonna
All
say
right.
I think that's probably enough for today. But
Yeah. For
before,
today,
yeah, for today,
maybe let's continue the cat talk. Let's just
well,
have a separate talk, not about Crimson, just cats.
I could probably round up some guests for that. Just
Oh,
do
cool.
like a cat round table.
Should
Throw
we
some cat
bring our
models in the
cats to
space.
the talk?
Yeah, why not, right? Uh,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this now too. Uh, when you are closer to release with Crimson, you are absolutely invited
Okay.
back on the show.
Sure. Sure.
Like
I'd
you,
love to.
yeah, when you're like ready to like hit that button and be like, boop, launch the game, you're back on the show.
All right.
So
So
because
before that, or after that?
well, I mean, we could do either or. If we do before, it would be like kind of like, hey, this game's coming out
Or
real soon.
maybe while I'm doing it,
Oh
like
yeah,
on the show.
yeah. Like, hey, it just went live. Go get yourself some Crimson. But yeah, man, absolutely. Because like, I like your game. I'm invested in your game, and I want to see it succeed. So this is about all I can do for it to help it do that. And so you damn well better
Sure.
believe I'm
Thank
gonna
you.
do it. So
I just have one question from you.
okay,
You've asked me all these questions. I want to have one.
have
Why
at it.
don't you have legs?
Um, because I'm only have 3 points of tracking right now: hands and head. Right. Um, I don't do
Oh, you're
legs.
going to answer that literally? I'm not asking the real you.
Oh,
I'm asking the computer guy on the screen.
I haven't manifested them yet. It takes a lot of energy
So,
to manifest head and hands, and then even the torso. Like, trust me, it's hard work manifesting yourself in a digital and virtual environment. If it were easy, then
so
all of the internet would do it.
okay, fair enough. I suppose the only thing that still I'm curious about is that. So, do you have a penis?
I mean,
What
I
is
don't
that?
feel that that is an appropriate part of conversation, but I mean, so that's going to be my dodging of that question.
Okay. I would love to know if it's even necessary for computer people to have genitals.
Well, I mean,
Do
from one perspective, that might give you a hint on the answer is since I don't eat or drink in a standard fashion,
oh,
yeah. So there you go.
sure. That's
Strangest question I've ever been asked. And I've been asked some weird fucking questions.
yeah.
Well, on that crazy
Yeah,
note, Amir,
uh,
where can people find you on the
yeah.
internet to support you and your game?
Well, unfortunately, not Pornhub yet, but you can find me on Twitter and Discord. Can I just send everything in the chat right now? Let me just do it.
If you
Whoever
can,
wants to connect with
uh,
me.
link sharing links in chat right now is disabled, but Liam is our mod. So if you like send it to him via a private message, he can post the link for your Discord in there.
Okay. Liam?
Yep.
Okay, okay. All like right now?
Yeah.
Okay, so hang on.
Yeah. No problem.
Liam, I'm gonna find you in Discord. Liam Tooth.
Yep, he's
I
going to be
incidentally
really
have
easy to
him.
find in the pig chat or in the Pitch Your Game Discord, because he's like right up there at the top because he's the boss.
He's a very cool person. I really love the fact that he just is always there to support the picture game.
Well, I mean, I
So,
would hope so. He
I
like made it.
yeah, I'm speaking of experience since whenever I had questions, he was always there to answer. So, yeah, that's what I mean. Can I
He's good
send
people.
Discord?
Yeah. If you just like copy the link to, like the invite link or whatever it is, and then send that, just
Oh,
like inviting it.
invite link. Okay, okay,
Yeah.
sure. Hang on. Okay. I just sent the Twitter link, and then here is the Discord link. By the way, you guys can join here too. It's a fun Discord channel.
Cool.
We have fun. And what else? YouTube, maybe I can add YouTube too.
Yeah.
I do other songs that are not in the game too. So if you like what I do with my songs, check out my YouTube. There's more of that.
Cool.
And that's it.
Well, once again,
All right.
thank you so much for joining us
That was
today.
a fun talk.
Yeah. It got a little weird there at a couple points, but it was generally a
That's just
very good talk.
that's a given when you're talking to me. That's immediately where my mind goes.
All right. Well, I
I
will
pretty much
remember
don't have
that
a
for
talk.
next time.
Okay. So
Well,
so what are you going to prepare for it?
what, prepare for weirdness? Now that I know to be ready for weirdness to happen, I'll be not, well, I won't prepare, but I will at least be ready to improvise.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, Liam Hart's indie
All
games.
right.
And Tom, when does it not get weird on your
Oh,
show? Look, there's like a scale of weird. So like there's like the normal weird, and then there's like the slightly weird, and then like today kind of passed the slightly weird and got into some new territory which I wasn't expecting, but is what it is. We kept it safe for human consumption. And Amir, once again, thank you so much for being here. Uh, I'm going to
thank you for
switch.
having me.
Oh, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Switch over to this camera angle real quick. And thank everybody in our
Okay.
audience for joining us, especially Iron Rajard. I'm just going to call you Iron. I hope that's okay. Thank you for the new follow. Just so you know, I've got a lot of shows planned for the next 10 days. In fact, I'm going to have a show every day for the next 10 days. Let's see. So tomorrow at Wednesday, I rescheduled yesterday's show. I'm going to be speaking with the lead artist from the indie game Frere at 8 p.m. Thursday, I'm going to be talking with Jason Gluck, who's the developer on a Oculus Quest game called Hover Quest at 10 p.m. And on Friday, I'll be sitting with Kane down to talk about Sushi Ben VR, a VR sushi game, which sounds really fun, at 9 p.m. And Saturday, I'll be sitting down with Nick and Bennett from Depths of Sanity, and be prepared for some Hunt for Red October jokes at 1 p.m. All those times are, of course, Eastern Daylight Time, because that's, like everybody can figure that one out. But other than that, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. One more thanks for my guest. And I guess I'll just see you all next time on another brand new episode of That Tom Clancy Show. Have a good day, everybody. Drink some water, vitamins, wear your masks. I'd like to travel again. And bye.